In the unwritten time, before the tick of any clock or the drawing of any breath, there was the expanse, a symphony of pure light and sound, boundless and perfect. This was the celestial realm, heaven, a kingdom forged from the very thought of God, shimmering with an iridescence that no mortal eye could ever comprehend. Its fields were woven from threads of starlight, and its rivers flowed with liquid music. In this realm of eternal dawn, there was no shadow, no sorrow, no end, and presiding over its infinite glories were the angels, beings of immense power and immaculate beauty, each a unique note in the grand divine composition. In this celestial host, one star shone brighter than all others. He was known as Lucifer, the morning star, the light bringer. He was not merely an angel, he was a masterpiece, forged in the crucible of creation with an artisan's care. He was the pinnacle of angelic existence. His wings were spun from the gold of newborn suns, and his eyes held the wisdom of nascent galaxies. When he spoke, his voice was the harmony to which all other angels tuned their own. He was the chief of the archangels, the right hand of the divine, and in his heart he held a love for his Creator so profound it resonated through the very foundations of heaven. He was perfect, and in that perfection, unbeknownst to all, a seed of impossibility had been planted, the seed of a fall from a height no one could imagine. In this golden age of heaven, Lucifer was more than a leader. He was an inspiration. He walked the celestial paths, and light bloomed in his wake. He was the first to sing the Creator's praises at the dawn of each new cosmic cycle, his voice leading a choir of billions. The other angels, from the mighty seraphim who veiled their faces before God's throne, to the cherubim, guardians of divine mystery, looked upon him with awe and reverence. He was their brother, their commander, their standard of excellence. He was entrusted with God's most intricate designs, understanding the mechanics of creation in ways few others could. He saw the blueprints for future worlds, the weaving of fate and free will, the delicate dance of matter and spirit. His wisdom was second to that of the Creator's own, and his loyalty was thought to be as immutable as the laws of existence he helped uphold. There was no task too great, no secret too profound for him. He was Lucifer, the anointed cherub, the seal of perfection, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. He walked among the stones of fire on the holy mountain of God, and the universe itself seemed to sing his name. This was a time of unity, of purpose, of unwavering devotion. A time that, in its very perfection, held no premonition of the cataclysm to come. The first tremor in this perfect existence was not a shout, but a whisper. It began with the conception of a new creation, a species so paradoxical it defied celestial logic. They were to be called man, forged not from pure spirit, but from the humble dust of a new world called Earth. They would be fragile, flawed, and mortal. Yet They would be made in the very image and likeness of God. And the angels, the perfect and powerful, were told they must love and serve these creatures. For most of the heavenly host, this was just another divine decree to be followed with joy. But for Lucifer, it was a discordant note in the universal harmony. He, the morning star, a being of pure light and immense power, was being asked to bow to a creature of clay? The thought was an insult, a spark that landed on the dry tinder of his self-regard. His internal monologue began, a silent rebellion brewing in the pristine chambers of his mind. Serve them? These frail, ephemeral beings? I who have stood in the direct light of the throne, who have shaped nebulae with my will, am I not also beautiful? Am I not also wise? He gave me all these gifts, this unmatched splendor. Why? To make me a custodian for a lesser race? Envy, an emotion previously unknown in heaven, began to curdle within him. He looked at his own radiant form, and then at the concept of man, and he saw not a child of God to be nurtured, but a rival for the Father's affection. The love he once felt for his Creator began to twist into a possessive, jealous obsession. The whisper of pride grew louder, morphing into a seductive argument. He is not the only one who can create. He is not the only one who deserves a throne. My light is my own. I am my own God. The perfection was now fractured, and through that crack, a terrible darkness began to seep. Lucifer, master of persuasion, did not declare his intentions openly. He began a campaign of insidious whispers, of carefully planted doubts. He sought out other angels, those whose pride mirrored his own, or those who felt their own light was underappreciated. He approached them not as a rebel, but as a liberator. To one he might say, "Brother, have you ever wondered why we are bound by these eternal rules? Our power is infinite, yet we are made to serve. Is that true freedom?" To another he would murmur, "Look at what is planned. A new species, destined to inherit all this, while we, the firstborn, are to be their guardians, their servants. Where is the justice?" Lucifer, master of persuasion, did not declare his intentions openly. He began a campaign of insidious whispers, of carefully planted doubts. He sought out other angels, those whose pride mirrored his own, or those who felt their own light was underappreciated. He approached them not as a rebel, but as a liberator. To one he might say, "Brother, have you ever wondered why we are bound by these eternal rules? Our power is infinite, yet we are made to serve. Is that true freedom?" To another he would murmur, "Look at what is planned. A new species, destined to inherit all this, while we, the firstborn, are to be their guardians, their servants. Where is the justice in that? Where is the honor?" He painted a picture of a new order, a republic of heaven, where power would be shared, where every angel could be their own master, not beholden to a single distant authority. He spoke of glory, of self-determination, of a destiny they could seize for themselves. His words were like honeyed poison, beautiful and deadly. He was Lucifer, the light bringer, and he used his light to blind them. Slowly, tragically, his influence spread. Angels began to gather in secret conclaves, their celestial light dimming with the shadow of doubt. They looked at Lucifer, so radiant and confident, and they saw a future more glorious than the one they had been given. One by one, they pledged their allegiance to him, their oaths echoing silently in the hallowed halls they now sought to conquer. The great deception was a success. An entire third of the heavenly host, legions of once loyal angels, had joined the rebellion. Heaven was now a house divided against itself, standing on the precipice of a war that would scar creation for eternity. This story of ambition and betrayal is one of the most foundational myths in history. A conflict that shaped the very nature of good and evil. If you find these epic tales as fascinating as we do, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. You won't want to miss what comes next in our exploration of the greatest stories ever told. Now, let us return to the moment heaven itself broke in two. The time for whispers was over. A roar of defiance shattered the celestial peace. Lucifer, at the head of his massive army, ascended towards the highest echelon of heaven, his brilliant light now burning with a cold, ambitious fire. He made his proclamation, a declaration of independence that was a declaration of war. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will make myself. The time for whispers was over. A roar of defiance shattered the celestial peace. Lucifer, at the head of his massive army, ascended towards the highest echelon of heaven, his brilliant light now burning with a cold, ambitious fire. He made his proclamation, a declaration of independence that was a declaration of war. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will make myself like the Most High. The universe held its breath. The rebellion was now open, an unimaginable sacrilege. In response, a light of pure, unwavering loyalty blazed forth. It was the Archangel Michael. He was not as magnificent as Lucifer, nor as wise in the cosmic secrets, but his heart was a fortress of devotion. He drew his sword, a blade forged from a single concentrated star, and his voice rang out, a counter-cry that would become the Loyalists' battle hymn. Who is like God? The Loyalists' agony. For Michael and the two-thirds of the host that remained loyal, this was a moment of profound, soul-shattering tragedy. The rebels were not faceless enemies. They were their brothers, their friends, comrades with whom they had sung the hymns of creation for eons. To raise a hand against them felt like tearing out a part of their own being. A sorrowful resolve settled over them. They saw the corruption in their brother's eyes, the beautiful light of heaven twisted into something selfish and dark. They knew this was not a war for territory, but for the very soul of heaven. With heavy hearts and tears of starlight, they prepared for the most terrible of duties, to fight their own kin, to preserve the sanctity of their home. The battle that followed was beyond any mortal comprehension. It was a storm of light and will. Angels clashed in the celestial skies, their powers shaking the very firmament. Swords of condensed light met shields of pure faith. battle cries were not of sound, but of raw telepathic force that sent ripples across dimensions. Entire constellations were blotted out by the sheer energy being unleashed. The fields of heaven, once serene, were now scorched by holy and unholy fire. At the heart of this cosmic maelstrom was the duel. Lucifer, now a whirlwind of furious, prideful energy, met Michael, a pillar of calm, divine strength. Their swords clashed, and each impact sent shockwaves through reality. Lucifer fought with the dazzling, unpredictable brilliance that had always defined him. Michael fought with the steady, unyielding power of his conviction. It was a battle of ambition versus duty, of the self versus the whole, the most epic duel in the annals of existence.
For all his power and fury, Lucifer could not prevail. For he fought for himself, while Michael fought for something infinitely greater. With a final, sorrowful cry, Michael channeled the full might of God's authority through his being. He struck a blow not of hate, but of pure, righteous judgment. The blow did not kill Lucifer, for angels are eternal. It shattered his pride. It broke his connection to the divine light. Defeated, Lucifer's radiance began to collapse inward. The brilliant light that had defined him imploded, leaving behind a being of shadow and rage. His beauty curdled into a fearsome visage. His name, Lightbringer, became a mockery. Now, he was Satan, the adversary. A great cosmic vortex opened in the floor of heaven. One by one, Lucifer and his entire rebel army were cast down. They fell like a shower of dying stars, their despairing cries echoing through the void. They plummeted through the dimensions, through the layers of creation, cast out from the light forever. Where they landed, in the deepest, darkest abyss of existence, their very presence warped reality. Their bitterness, their hatred, and their eternal regret coalesced, forming a new realm, a kingdom of shadow and fire, of eternal torment and endless despair. They had sought to build a throne higher than God's, and instead they had created hell. The war was over, but the consequences had just begun. A new reality was born, one where light had a shadow, where love had an adversary, and where the echoes of that celestial war would forever tempt and torment the new creation called humanity. The fall of Lucifer was not an end, but a beginning. The beginning of a new, eternal war for the souls of mankind. Do you believe Lucifer's pride was his only sin? Or was he a tragic figure corrupted by circumstance? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We read every single one. Thank you for watching.